For some reason, most of you disc golfers are still bagging complete trash. Well, I'm gonna hopefully fix some of that for you. That's only if you're gonna listen though, because these are some of the most underrated discs out there that will help your game, according to me at least. Now that I said that, no one can bitch in the comments since it's an opinion piece. Actually, the justice. Okay, now that all the facts are out of the way, here's the list. Kicking off, we gotta go with the disc that's gonna make all the old dudes happy by suggesting the Millennium JLS. As the name indicates, this disc just goes long and straight. Even beginner players looking for a straight disc with a consistent finish should give this bad boy a try. There's no need to power up or rip this thing as hard as you can. Rather, slow down your arm and let the disc float down the fairway without leaving the line it was put on. For players looking for something that can flip with ease in wooded situations without worrying about a fast disc, check out the JLS. You might start eating dinner at 4 p.m. and take out your teeth while you sleep, but you'll get nice straight shots no problem. Who cares if your favorite candy will be good in plenties? If you refuse to switch to a flip phone, check out the Leopard. Yeah, 50 years old might be the average age of disc golfers that throw it, but you can't really go wrong with the classic. It's like someone hating on Bob Ross. If they do, you already know they're the shitty person. Sort of like anyone who talks bad about the wild honey. You can safely assume they don't even have a sliver of happiness in their body, so don't listen to whatever they have to say. Especially when you already know they have a bag full of trilogy lying around somewhere. Before you Latitude cucks click off the video, I do have a disc of theirs to suggest. But first, I'm gonna have to throw up. Just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I do have to admit though, ever since Swiss has busted out the Bolt, he's been throwing some pretty solid lines. Don't get me wrong, the only reason he even bags one is since he lost his Mamba, which I will say is way better. That being said, the Bolt has enough understability that even people with as much holes in their game as Swiss cheese can find success. People might be quick to point out that it's a 13 speed, but honestly, I don't give a fuck about flight numbers. I think they give a good starting point of what the disc will fly like, not universally for everyone, but at some point you should be able to recognize how similar numbered discs fly for you specifically. And don't expect them to fly the same from disc to disc. Do you think a Big Mac is really going to look like it does in the commercial? Nah, but you didn't expect it that way. You were already set on spending the next hour on the toilet after that shit anyway. Keep the same energy here, at least with Latitude discs. Alright, now I'm going to have to take a break to brush my teeth.
While I fix this situation, how about I talk about an extremely overrated disc? So here's a quick intermission while I get this trilogy taste out of my mouth.
I know I talk a lot of shit about this disc, and I was tired of all you brainwashed from the cult of Berg telling me how necessary it was for your game. So I was only left with one choice. I already tried to make sense of a local Berg thrower of mine, but I couldn't get past the rhetoric he was spewing at me with the speed of Eminem. All I could do now was travel to play around with the most famous Berg thrower of all time. I'm talking about the Berg nerd himself. I mean, if I wanted to see what hidden powers this disc possessed, I needed to go to the master, right? If you don't know who the hell I'm talking about, go check out the nerd's channel. I do gotta make a confession though. There's probably like 3 people on the planet that throw a Berg that I actually like. He does happen to be one of them, and everyone back home can now decide who the other 2 are. Part of me has to respect the dedication he brings to the disc. I've never seen a person throw more forehand approaches from Circle 2 in my life. Granted, he does happen to make one on the few occasion. However, I'm still not sure if that offsets the rest of the missed comeback putts. But hey, your problem, not mine. I hate to say it guys, but there was no magic while I was there. Was it because I brought the bad energy? Possibly, but I did have the chance to try this thing out. And I know, me throwing a Berg? Hell must have frozen over or something. And guess what, guys? I didn't like it. I hope you didn't think all of a sudden my opinion was gonna change. I talk shit for a reason. This thing ain't for me. As much as it might not feel completely horrible in my hand for a forehand, it doesn't do anything I want. I still should have hit that putt though. And this? Yeah, I don't know what the that was. However, this was the closest I got to see a good Berg shot. Well, there you guys have it. I played around with the one and only. It may have been a fun round, but I'm not convinced in the Berg yet. I guess you'll have to check out Bergner's channel for him to try to do that to you. For now though, I'll stick to my opinion that no one should be bagging this dog dish.
As it really is the most overrated disc in all of disc golf.
Okay, now back to your regular scheduled video. The Tenacity is a disc that I didn't think I would ever call underrated. That's only because it's MVP. But I did have the chance to be convinced. See, it can happen. Also, it wasn't for me. Instead, for slower arm speed players, as they can find lots of positives with this massively understable disc. For anyone looking for something that will hold an Anheuser all the way, this might be the disc you're looking for. Or my suggestion would be a Clash Disc Soda, as that's the disc I first gave to people starting out the sport. One of the few premium plastic discs that really slow arms can work, and if that still doesn't hold turn, you might need a Rolo. I want to call this disc underrated, but I think there's a solid group of basement-dwelling DDers that use it, although part of me thinks most people throw it ironically, as if it hasn't seriously helped their game. For players without a forehand and can't get the nose of the disc down consistently, try out the Rolo for a bit. Now just don't go using it as a crutch. There isn't an excuse to stop working on other parts of your game. You aren't a pro. You need as much variety of shots as possible. I promise you're not good enough to stop practicing shots. Plus, that's a part of disc golf that needs to be embraced if you want to get the most out of it. And if you don't want to be that guy that throws a Rolo, just invest the $12 in a DX Leopard and watch that bitch roll out of your hand like it's caught on fire. I see so many people talking about the Hex nowadays, and at first, I thought it was just people trying to justify the $35 they spent on their Elvis Halloween stamp. But once I got my hands on one, I started to understand the hype. Personally, I got one in Eclipse plastic and heard these runs were a quite bit more stable, which I loved, and even was able to snag this ace. Too bad I would lose it a couple weeks later at playing Bud Hill. You guys don't understand the frustration that comes from losing a disc while you're recording. Watching back the footage over and over again just to be left more confused on where the hell it could have gone. After an extended amount of time of looking in what seemed to be an open field, the disc was pronounced lost. I also refused to put my name and number on my discs. When I was younger, I used that mindset as a way to steal discs I found on the course. Hey, at least I'm admitting to it now, as I have reformed from my degenerate upbringing, but I'll forever be a disgenerate, and that'll never change. After looking for longer than Nico's putting routine, I had to leave one of my favorite discs. Also happened to be the only mid-range I had left in the bag. Shout out to Ink Me Dice for hooking me up with a brand new one once they heard I needed a replacement. You guys are the absolute best. I'll try my hardest not to lose it this time. But if I do, I'm switching to the Reactor. It feels similar in my hand, but has more dump than the typical Hex. At least that's what I was told by a guy who goes by the name of Chicken, and I couldn't imagine he would lie to me. Plus, he let me try one out. It just happened to be in the pitch dark during a glow round. Parked it, just didn't see any of the flight. I used to be the guy who bagged 0 mid-ranges. I know that sounds pretty dumb, but I also used to bag 8 destroyers. I told you though, I'm reformed. I only got 4 now. Well, sort of. I should say I had a CAC Z in my bag, which is considered a mid-range driver, so kind of like a dry hand job, it counts as half a point. Essentially, it was a 6-speed with a thinner beveled edge that felt more so like a driver, but didn't fly as far. Although, it still smashed more than any other mid, and I liked the feeling, so I had no choice but to put it in my bag and pretend I threw it. I'm like Detective Baby Legs, except for it's my hands, so this fake mid-range was an easy way to get around that problem. Good thing I decided to grow up, but if someone out there wants a cheat code, keep your eyes out for a Cax by Castablast. Too bad they stopped the production of the Z's. It really will go down as a legend in the disc golf community forever. Hopefully one day he'll come out of his cave and surf the waves again. If all you need is an understable mid-range that will float down the fairway with ease or flip up in the woods with little power, check out the Origin. Designed for long turnovers or finesse shots around trees, or in reality, the best everyday disc golf for mid-range. Even the old guy living in his truck at the end of the parking lot can get this thing to turn and ride. Hopefully you can do the same, or we're going to have some talking to do. I've talked a lot of shit about people putting with anything not a wizard from Gateway, and I'm not going to walk that one back as fast as myself. And I'm not talking about running. Because ever since Gavin Rathbun gave Swiss a Warlock to try out, he's been missing every putt. But damn it, he's doing it in style. And isn't that what it's really about? I will say, watching Gavin do what these things are supposed to do make them look great though. So I'll add it to the list of okay putting putters. Which is a video I should probably make so you guys know if you're putting with something acceptable or not. If this video gets 250 likes, I'll make it happen. So follow Berdogi to not miss out on that one. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. It's the easiest way to support me while I'm living in a minivan. Oh yeah, and if you want to hear what your favorite disc says about you, check out the video right here.